Hey, this is Aaron, the Metal Theologian. I'm going to get right to the soda here because I'm kind of thirsty. It's been a while though. Fucking my old computer melted down, like literally. This is a frosty root beer. And these are actually kind of easy to find around here, so they seem to have pretty good distribution. This is from the Orca Beverage Company in Washington State. And one of the things that's funny is citric acid, I noticed in the ingredients. I was looking at this before, they spelled with 2 I's. So I don't know, misspellings. It's like record covers, right? If something's misspelled, it's probably a good sign. Yeah, it's a really good, straightforward root beer. It's not the greatest thing ever. In fact, there's something really kind of ordinary about it, to tell you the truth. I mean, it's perfectly good, like, you know, just sort of, you're drinking a root beer. But it doesn't really have anything about it that sort of makes it stand out. I don't know, maybe it'll grow on me as I'm sipping it. It's not bad. It's not incredible, though. Yeah, so, yeah, been away for a little while. I was pissed at the VC. No, I'm kidding. No, my machine like literally melted down. I was having overheating problems or something like that, and it actually just like kind of burned itself out. It's fucked because we like took it in to get the coolant system looked at a couple times. But anyway, it's a pain in the ass. But here we are. I've gotten some good stuff too. This is actually a really notable addition. This is the second Almond Dual record, Collapsing, with a longer German title. But check out that gatefold. How nuts is that? And this is Almond Dual 1. These records are a lot harder to get than Almond Dual 2, which have been reissued a few times. The only one I'm aware of... No, there are 2 that are reissued. I mean, in case you don't know, you probably do, but there were sort of 2 bands. There was Almond Dual, which was like the sort of like commune type thing, where they just like sat around and made records that sound like this, and like had a lot of people sitting around just like playing drums and getting high and shit, and getting credited on the fucking record for it. And then, like, a few of the guys kind of split off and formed Almond Dual 2 as, like, sort of more serious, like an actual band. Oh, they're pretty fucking far out, too. But they're just far out in a different way. These guys really completely freeform. Almond Dual 2 tended to have more structure, especially sort of as time went on with their records and that. So, and, you know, later on, actually, some of their later records aren't really all that interesting, but all of them do have really a weird color to them. I mean, when I talk about how German bands sort of have, like, this thing about them, this sort of darkness about them, that sort of thing, Almond Dual 2 really exemplifies that better than just about anyone else. But as far as I know, the only Almond Dual 1 records that have been reissued are the first one called Psychedelic Underground, which I might have shown before, and then the 4th one, actually, which got a reissue, a really nice reissue on Wawa a few years ago. That one was probably the most song-based out of the lot, and they even put out a single. But the first 3 were just like this. I mean, just like lots of drums and shit like that. One of them was even a double. So this second one I was really stoked to find because it doesn't turn up very often, especially not on this side of the Atlantic. And speaking of Almond Dual 2, actually, I used to have an original of this, but I recently got this reissue. This is the Cleopatra reissue, and you probably can't tell in the video, actually, but I noticed I was a little surprised. The cover looks a little bit washed out compared to the UA press that I used to have. I noticed that some of these are like that, like I was at a mainstream bookstore here just a few days, like about a week ago or something. These copies of Paranoid by Black Sabbath. I noticed the Night on the cover was all sort of washed out looking too. The covers weren't as bright as they were on the older pressings, so I don't really know what's up with that. It's a little bit of a bummer, but anyway, this is still a great album. It's one that was a little bit songy for me earlier on, but I don't know, man. It's just born repeated listenings, and it's sort of like I don't know. I kind of feel like I say this a lot, but it's really being reunited with an old friend, having this thing back in my collection because this is a really cool record, man. It's just a weird, kind of song-based, kind of proggy, but just has a really sort of weird color to it, a really weird approach to the songwriting, and just like a really sort of unusual thing. There's really nothing else that sounds quite like Almond Dual 2. Almond Dual 1 just like jumps out and like grabs you with its weirdness. Almond Dual 2, well, I guess they kind of do that too, but not quite to the same extent, and to the degree they do it, it's really more in the earlier records like Phallus Dei or Yeti, which are also great albums, don't get me wrong, but I've really come around on some of these other ones like Wolf City, or also Carnival in Babylon is another one I listen to a lot. So I just recently watched a couple other people's like German ones, so I kind of pulled out a bunch of German shit to talk about here. Some of these are recent arrivals, some not so recent, so and some are great and some aren't. This is actually one that is very highly regarded for being, it's really kind of folky for my taste though. I'm kind of showing this as much for Ben Costello as anyone else. I just watched his video with the his Asherah Temple records, of which I'm quite jealous. This is a reissue that's been kicking around for a couple of years. I think it's probably just about sold out, but you can still find them, as I did, and it's not really horrendously expensive. So in Garden of Delights, they do a really good job typically, and yeah, it's nice packaging, and originals of this are just insane, but this, I actually like this one more than I expected to. I mean, it's kind of not up my alley, and I kind of knew that going in as far as being sort of folk-based, but the songs are still nice. They don't do a lot of that kind of precious shit or any of the medieval shit that really kind of makes my stomach turn when I hear kind of folky records. So this really isn't a bad record, and so I don't want to come down on it too hard. I'll probably play it a few more times before I put it away and see if I can assimilate it a little better. It's a little late for the era, though, actually, too. It's 76. Now, this next one is one I've been hunting for a while. This is another one I'm not aware of a reissue existing of. This is the first album by Excalibur, and it also happens to be the only album. That's one thing, if you're a German band, don't ever call your record the first album, or first, or anything like that, because anytime a band does that, like DSE, right, or even Madhouse did that, right, there's never a subsequent one, so... this is a hard rock record for sure. It kind of has some boogie components. It's not as like balls out heavy as some of the German stuff. And it's not quite as dark either, but I just find this record really listenable though and really enjoyable. It's sincere and it's rockin', and it's just a cool record to listen to. And there's a little something on the plastic there, but fortunately it's not on the sleeve, so it's not the greatest copy on the planet anyway. But it's a cool record. Yeah, Excalibur, man, fucking really good thing to check out. It's not like the Second Coming of Zarathustra or something like that, but here's another one. I actually just found this one in the wild when I was in the upstate recently. That surprised me. This was at Horizon Records. This is like the third or fourth record by Hölderlin, and this is pretty much straight up prog. It's actually, I'm gonna go ahead. Here, I'll show that awesome picture of them on the back too, because it's kind of funny. Sporting the epic mustaches and that, of course. There's actually only the second record I own with this fried egg label, the Spiegelei label. The other one I have, I think I showed in an earlier one. My copy of Paranoid actually has that on there too. I don't know. Honestly, I thought this record was a little bit boring. It's not terrible. I like this one probably more than the first record, which is kind of like precious folky, like what I was talking about. You know how Lang Syne wasn't. That first one's still spelled with the umlaut over the O instead of the OE. It's funny, that was like their attempt to anglicize their name or something, because like all the Americans are going to look at this record cover and go, oh yeah, I know that obscure German poet, if you spell it with an OE instead of an O with an umlaut. I don't know, man, I don't know what the fuck they were thinking, really. They might as well have just left it. Yeah, though, I mean, you look at this other titles like Hectic Intergalactic and Before You Lay Down Rough and Thorny and Necronomicon, but it just doesn't really live up to that. It's 77, so it's already kind of late for a record that's as proggy as this thing is, and yeah, it's really not bad, but it just didn't really leave much of an impression on me at all, and I suppose that is kind of faint praise to damn it with, you know, if I could sort of paraphrase a cliche there. Here's another one that I like a lot. This is the Curly Curve album. And this is a pretty straight-ahead rocker. Kind of has some boogie elements, too, a little bit. This is a really varied record, actually. A lot of the records, you could level against this record, I think it's charged. The songs don't really cohere particularly well. I wouldn't level that charge, because I think it does make sense on its own terms. But, it's not, it's not like sort of a uniform sound, there are kind of sort of different things on here. It's a pretty straight rock album. If you're looking for something cosmic, like the Second Coming of Tangerine Dream or something like that, you're not going to like this record. And if you're looking for something really heavy, like the Night Sun record, you might not like it either. It actually went by me the first time I heard it for just that reason. But I ended up coming around on this record a lot. Really enjoyed it. It was actually a dealer who turned me on to this record, and I ended up getting it somewhere else. But I still appreciate the dude. Oh, by the way, how about that Use Your Brain sticker on there? I usually take stickers off my record covers. That's just on the plastic. But shit like that just has to stay. And then I've got one more here that I've actually had for a couple years, but I busted this out recently and played it. This is actually a comp on the Ohr label called Kosmische Musik, or Cosmic Music. And this one really does emphasize the whole sort of cosmic thing, with the German music. I mean, that's who's on here. It's like Tangerine Dream, Ashra Temple, Klaus Schulze solo. Look, it has this big book in here and shit. I don't know if I can really show this stuff dropping it, but these pages in here talking about all this shit and interviewing them. I'm gonna read that. Yeah, the other thing that's notable about this record is it has a couple unreleased tunes. Yeah, it's a side each for Popol Vuh. Actually, no, Popol Vuh and Klaus Schulze share a side, then Ashra Temple, then Tangerine Dream, then Ashra Temple again sharing with Klaus Schulze. And there are a couple of unreleased tracks on this thing, or elsewhere unreleased. One by Ashra Temple and one by Klaus Schulze. So, that's kind of cool. And this is just a cool record. I mean, if you dig that sort of thing. If you can't hang with a record like Cyborg, you might find, by Klaus Schulze, you might find this record boring. But, I don't know, man. If you dig that stuff, like that sort of droney, spacey, lots of electronics and that kind of shit, that sort of ooga booga kind of crowd shit, you'll probably be all over that record. And as a comp, it's worth having, even if you have the original albums by the artists, as I of course do. Even though some of them are reissues. Here's one. I'm pretty sure this is the first time this one's been shown in the VC, but I just played this one earlier tonight. This is the Mexican band Renaissance. You can see it's on the RAF label with that Hot Rock series. That's actually a sticker on there. And this cover is just fucking nuts, man. Doesn't quite live up to the cover. This is actually, in a way, by a different band, these songs might have come off as really ordinary sounding. But these guys just had this super weird sounding singer. Look at that crazy ass shit. These guys had this really weird sounding singer who's just in his delivery and shit. And it just gives the whole thing just a sort of bizarre feel. And there's one tune on here called Buried Alive, which is actually the first song I ever heard by these guys. It's really a pretty hard rocker. So overall, not the heaviest thing on the planet, but a really unusual record. Really kind of a gem from the Mexican scene. There are probably half a dozen Mexican records I'd recommend before this one, but this one definitely deserves your attention. And I don't think it's ever been reissued on record either. There might be a CD of it kicking around, but here's what I came across recently, speaking of being reunited with old friends. I had this when I was in my teens. It's actually the only Gong record I have now. I had maybe half a dozen of their records when I was in high school and that, but I really kind of got sick of that whole sort of jokey thing and all that flying teapot business with the pothead pixies and all that shit. Just a little bit too goofy. I used to have more of a sense of humor about that sort of thing than I do now, but I don't know. But this record, Magic Brother, on top of being more straightforward, is just, I don't know, it's a really early one. I remember liking it. I played it again, and it's definitely kind of straight prog and even a little bit English in the pejorative sense for my taste, but this is still an enjoyable record, and I can't really say too much bad about Gong these days. This one is one I've been curious about since I first saw this cover in a Repertoire Records catalog back at the beginning of the 90s. Yeah, this band's just called Ben. This is total prog rock. Definitely has kind of a jazzy feel. It's all instrumental. It has 4 tracks. And, something though, it's a pretty cool record. There's all sorts about this record to be hostile to. In fact, I saw this. I'd sampled it online and been like, I don't know. But then I saw it was in my hands. I was like, fuck, man, I've got to give it a chance. And I brought it home and I really enjoyed it, sort of in spite of myself. So what can I say? If you like really sort of, I mean, let's face it, pretentious sort of jazz rock shit, you know, Ben isn't a bad band at all. This is a heavier one. This is Tear Gas. I got this one sort of balanced that other one out the same day, but this is also a reissue. But this band made a couple of records. They made another one called Piggy Go Getter, which actually that was a piece of crap. It's just kind of a boring record. But this one's a lot more rockin'. It does have a really superfluous cover of Jailhouse Rock on here that I really, really wish they had left off. But overall, this is a good record. It's not the heaviest thing ever, but it's heavy enough, you know what I mean? The riffs like rock and shit. And I played this like 3 or 4 times and really enjoyed it. I thought I read somewhere actually too that this band actually became the sensational Alex Harvey band. Like this is before they hooked up with Alex Harvey, but someone has to check me on that because that could be one of those unsubstantiated rumors. Alright, I've been keeping an eye out for this bad boy and finally got it. Nice early press too. Not a whole lot to say about this one. It's kind of an early Pink Floyd classic. I'd forgotten how much like choral shit there was on this though, and like all the brass and that during that whole Adam Hart Mother suite. I gotta say I still really like it, but in my sort of faint memory of it, I hadn't heard the thing in like 15 years. In my sort of vague memory of it, it was a lot closer to what metal ended up sounding like. I still think metal's probably a better album. But I still dig this one. I've played this a few times, so I'm not going to bother opening it up. Y'all have seen that before. Here's another rocker. I think these guys were English, but this band is called Watie. It's another reissue. The originals, again, are expensive. And, I don't know, man. The cover really pretty much tells you what to expect. You know, it has kind of on the bluesy side, but I'd be going too far to call it blues rock. Overall, it's just a cool hard rock record, man. Fucking Watie. Totally worthy of your attention. And finally, the last band I'm going to talk about, I'm actually revisiting a band from an earlier video. A while back when I just gotten it, oh shit, my record ended, I guess it's been 20 minutes. A while back I had a copy of a Ball of Eyes by Placebo, and I found it to be kind of just not all that great, really. I saw this one recently, though, and just went, what the hell, I'll give it a shot. I actually mistakenly think this was their first one. Apparently Ball of Eyes was the first one. This is actually their third record. I really enjoyed this one. Again, it's all instrumental. It's funny, because my descriptions would probably be really similar to what I would say about Ben, but the feel of the two records is really completely different. Like, Ben is more like sort of the long, like, drawn-out, sort of like jazz rock suites. These guys have a tendency to come up with a relatively simple riff, and just sort of like improvise over it and sort of play their stuff and unpack it that way. And this record is their last record from '74. These guys are from Belgium, and it's just a really enjoyable record. I liked it so much that I actually went out and got their second one too, which is also great. Placebo 1973. This one's actually probably the heaviest of the three as far as sort of like some kind of dark and kind of ominous sounding riffs and some of the sort of brooding noises that they make. But, yeah, this is one of my new favorite bands, Placebo, I've got to say. I'm really glad to have not just discovered them, but spent enough time with them to actually kind of come to understand what they were about, because they had some interesting stuff to say, and I'm happy to listen. So, thanks for watching. Got a new machine, so next time probably won't be as long as now, but until next time, thanks as always.